results have been really unexpected and fantastic, and more than I expected. When I reflect back on the actions that I've taken, I've done so much in such a short period of time, and that's been revelatory. Again, I'm using that word. Energy levels are in a completely different place. I've got a morning routine that I love, which you helped me put together. We talked before about sort of health and wellness and energy levels that are what brought me to coaching, and they are, it's so different. It's so different. I just have so much more energy, and it feels so much more level and consistent. I don't feel like I've got the ups and downs that I had before, emotionally, physically. Career-wise, I had a huge breakthrough working with you, and I've decided to step back into career coaching, which is my focus, and I love. And I've been sort of playing with that in my own time outside of the day job, and looking at ways I can bring coaching in with my team at work too. And I just feel so, I just love it. And that was
How
a
does that
huge
make you
breakthrough.
feel? How did that change your emotions, your passion in your everyday, your yeah.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the passion's back, right? So that was something that was just really missing before. Um, was absolutely executing at work, but was a little bit going through the motions, and the passion is just back.
So hello and welcome everybody to this amazing case study here with my client Pamela Harvey Brown. How are you doing today?
I'm really good, thanks, Lisa. How are you?
I'm doing amazing and I'm so excited for you to be open to share your incredible results that you had in our coaching together, to inspire other people and also share something that they can go and then implement in their own life as well. So let's dive right in. So I'd love to start with a quick introduction, maybe share who you are and what you do in your career.
Yeah, so I'm Pamela. I have been based in New York for 13 years, just moved back to London a couple of years ago, and have worked pretty much exclusively in education, human resources, and actually in coaching, Lisa. So spent some time as a career and leadership coach in New York, and just really happy to be here and talk a little bit more about my experience working with you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And maybe you can share next where, where was your career and your confidence and your clarity before we started working together?
Yeah, so this time last year, actually, I was sort of coming into the start of the year with just incredibly low energy. And that was physically, primarily physically, but also emotionally, motivation wise, my motivation was just missing, and came into coaching really focusing on trying to get that energy back, and initially very much focused on maybe the health reasons behind that low energy, and very quickly on working with you realized that there were some things around career and job that maybe needed to be better aligned to help with getting that energy back, but definitely came into it feeling very low energy, very confused about how to get the right support information. Health, there's so much information out there, right, around health and women's health in particular, and just was so confused, didn't really know where to start, and wasn't sure what coaching, even as a coach, wasn't really sure that coaching was the right step. But initially I was thinking about working with a dietitian or a nutritionist, and realized actually coaching could be a good option, and that's when I decided to reach out to you.
Yeah, and I thought it was really interesting that we started out really focusing on, cutting sugar and
Mhm.
getting you into good energy. But once that energy was back, we quickly moved into, you came, I think, on a second or third call talking about new career goals and getting more career clarity and all these things. So that was very interesting to see how more energy actually sparks new goals and new motivations.
Mhm.
Now, what do you think back then was the main thing holding you back? When you decided to join the coaching program at that point, what was really holding you back the most in terms of maybe your health, but also your career?
Yeah, yeah. definitely just being so tired. I mean, I just was so tired all of the time. And, I was wondering, is this definitely diet was a piece of it? And what was happening for me was that the things that I usually do to support my energy levels were just not working. So the usual ticks, trips, tactics that I put in place, Lisa, that usually support me and I've worked in the past, just were not yielding. I just couldn't stay in my routines and couldn't stay with the usual tricks that help me navigate through. And that's really what brought me to coaching. I just really wanted to figure out what was going on and unlock. I knew it wasn't anything untoward. I knew there wasn't an illness or an underlying health condition. I checked all of that out. So I figured, okay, it's got to be something else. Something else is going on, energy levels, tiredness, but also motivation, just feeling a bit blah, which I think many of us were at that time, and just wanting some support and structure and someone to help cheerlead, but also keep me accountable as well. And that's sort of where I was. So knew what I wanted to get to, just couldn't figure out how to get there.
Yeah, and if you can share a little bit more, maybe in terms of your career, where you were back then.
Yeah, yeah. So I was about a year into my job and was enjoying it. Um, I mentioned before that I'd worked as a career coach, and coaching is something I absolutely love. When it comes to energy, that is such a source and well of energy for me. It truly does give me energy, even though it can be quite taxing. I love doing it. It's such a passion for me. And at that time, I hadn't really made a connection between that feeling of blah and some things just being missing from my career portfolio. I really had not made that connection. And that was something that really came through our conversations. And you mentioned that very quickly, sort of second, third session, there was a bit of an unlock for me that yes, there were some tweaks and changes to be made around sugar and some other things, just very tactical things around wellness. And also some of that lack of motivation and feeling of blah was coming from not feeling passionate enough about what I was doing and just feeling a little bit at sea in my day job, and wanting or realizing that I wanted to identify some passion projects to get me really excited, to get me out of bed in the morning. So yeah,
Yeah,
very quickly that became clear, which was great.
that is, yeah, that was so beautiful to see that and spark that motivation for that passion again, and bringing that back into our coaching. Now, in terms of that, tell us how this problem of that you just mentioned with low energy and feeling blah and not feeling that passion was really impacting your career, and also
Yeah,
maybe your life and your well-being, your
yeah,
psychology
yeah.
outside of work.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, it impacted everything, right? I was sort of dragging myself through my work day, and when it came to going for walks with friends after work, hanging out with my husband, having the sort of emotional, intellectual, physical bandwidth to really invest in those relationships outside of work, it just wasn't there. And I knew that wasn't sustainable. And I also knew that that was not my preference either. I love working. I love being career oriented, which I am. I love my job, but there was nothing left over at the end of the day for other people, and for
Mm.
those passion projects that I wanted to pursue. Once I worked with you, I realized there were some things I wanted to do around my day job that I am passionate about, like coaching. So I knew I needed to figure out what was going on, because I just didn't have the energy, and just couldn't get myself past that first step of finding space for those passion projects and for the people around me that I love. And that was hugely impactful. I mean, that really impacted my sense of well-being. For sure it was showing up at work. I'm sure colleagues were picking up on that low energy, and that had to change. That was just not. I had to change that.
Yeah, beautiful. And I love to see how you're really tapping into that, finding that purpose, finding that passion again. And now, in terms of, when we started talking, what were your biggest concerns or maybe fears around, reaching out uh, for help and doing one-on-one coaching?
Yeah. I've had experience with coaching. I've been on the other side of the table. So luckily, when it came to coaching, I knew that it can be very powerful. So luckily for me, I was able to get through that step. I think initially, if I sort of take myself back to this time last year, and I was thinking about health, I was thinking about sort of sugar intake, I was thinking about these low energy levels. I just wasn't sure, is coaching the right thing? And I mentioned before, I was like, maybe I need a nutritionist, maybe it's a dietitian. So initially, I think maybe not a fear, but the initial question was, will this really help? Is this the right
Right.
vehicle to get the solutions and get the results that I want? So I went to a really, really, really practical place with that. I looked at, I'd sort of worked with my doctor to make sure that there was nothing else going on, no underlying illness, but sort of stayed within that medical discipline of thinking, oh, okay, nutritionist, dietitian. So I think when I decided, I remember being on a guided meditation that you were leading, where you talked about, how do you maintain your energy throughout the day, throughout your work day? And I mean, that was a light bulb moment. And I just thought,
Yes.
maybe this is the person I should be working with. Maybe this is the right vehicle for me. And
Yeah.
here I am.
And I love how it shifted into really then sparking your energy and passion for, coaching again and tapping into that again. And in terms of what you learned, I'm curious, what are like the top three things that you have learned in our time together in coaching so far that have made us the biggest impact, in your career and in your life? So also
Yeah.
everybody who's watching can, learn from that.
Yes. My brain goes right to what I can see behind my laptop. So, dear viewer, right behind my laptop is my vision board, which I'd never done a vision board before. And Lisa, you were the one who encouraged me to do it. So, I think the power of, and this is what I'm looking at right now, the power of seeing what I've written on my vision board and being able, maybe this is sort of the second learning, being able to identify goals and results that I wanted to get to, and realizing it didn't have to feel so difficult. It didn't have to feel arduous or tough. Even just having, there's a number I've got on my vision board, and that jumps out at me every morning. And that's related to one of the goals that you and I set back almost a year ago. And it, it doesn't feel like effort. Of course, I've done the work. Of course, there have been steps and action steps I've needed to take, but it hasn't felt stressful. It hasn't felt arduous. And I think that's been the second big learning, is that it can be easy. It doesn't have to feel so hard. And then the third learning is the power of getting clarity, the power of just being really honest about what you want and what you need. And that's something that you've been really good at helping me do. Actually, you've been able to help me be really disciplined around that. And again, it doesn't feel difficult or arduous or like somebody's telling me what to do. It feels so empowering and inspiring, and the clarity is coming from a very inspired place. So it's been beautiful. It's been pretty revelatory.
Yeah, and for everybody who's watching, what really the clarity is the foundation of peak performance, right? So when we have clarity and know what we want, we can laser focus march towards that. But if we don't, we can spread our energy all over and go in circles for years and years. So that's really where coaching can also help you save a lot of money in the end of the day by being
Mhm.
focused on the things, the career goals that you really want, and getting
Mhm.
there much, much quicker can save years of time.
Mhm.
And so that's, thank you for sharing. And in
Can
terms
I
of,
Can
yeah,
I
yeah,
mention one more thing? Because you
share more.
mentioned money, and I just want to be in the spirit of being honest and open for those watching. Last year, we were a single family income household. I was the sole earner. So money was a consideration too. And I was really thinking about, initially I was thinking, can we afford this? Should we afford this? So that was a big consideration for me too. And no question, it was the right choice. 100% was the right choice, was the right investment. So that jogged my memory, Lisa. So I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, and I love that now your husband was tapping into coaching as well, and you guys shifted so much in your family with income during our
Yeah.
time working together. that now it's a different situation, right? So it can
Yeah.
come back through, your own income or income with your partner. So in your case, you guys started both coaching through me. So that was actually a beautiful thing to see that affected you as well. Now, in terms of tangible results, which ones, have you seen from what tangible results did you really get from implementing, the things that we discussed that you have learned, and how have they impacted your life personally and in your career?
Yeah. The results have been really unexpected and fantastic, and more than I expected. When I reflect back on the actions that I've taken, I've done so much in such a short period of time, and that's been revelatory. Again, I'm using that word. Energy levels are in a completely different place. I've got a morning routine that I love, which you helped me put together. We talked before about sort of health and wellness and energy levels that are what brought me to coaching, and they are, it's so different. It's so different. I just have so much more energy, and it feels so much more level and consistent. I don't feel like I've got the ups and downs that I had before, emotionally, physically. Career-wise, I had a huge breakthrough working
Yeah.
with you, and I've decided to step back into career coaching, which is my focus, and I love. And I've been sort of playing with that in my own time outside of the day job, and looking at ways I can bring coaching in with my team at work too. And I just feel so, I just love it. And that
How,
was
how
a
does that
huge
make you
breakthrough.
feel? How did that change your emotions, your passion in your everyday, yeah.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the passion's back, right? So that was something that was just really missing before. Um, was absolutely executing at work, but was a little bit going through the motions, and the passion is just back. And I'm thinking about
Amazing.
a big project I worked on in the day job last year, which we launched just before the end of this year. I'm sorry, the end of last year, and I don't know that I would have had the emotional, intellectual energy bandwidth to do that if I hadn't have been working with you. Maybe I would have, but I've been able to do so much more on top, and I'm reinvigorating my own coaching business, which is so exciting. I'm so excited to work on that. And I close, I close the laptop, finish work, and then I go to work. And that's just been so much fun and very inspiring. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that this passion is back, that you have that new spark and the energy, and also I think some other things we discussed were really that you had a clear vision for the road ahead now, right? And cutting your sugar intake, and really, you said you feel empowered and prepared to do some, group coaching as well. It's a really amazing thing so far that we're still working on
Yeah.
for the future. So love, I'm so excited for you to actually have achieved that, and we still take it to the next level in 2022. Now, who would you recommend one-on-one coaching with me in my coaching program,
Yeah.
and
So
why?
I think, yeah. So I think any woman who is thinking about any kind of change, I didn't come thinking about a career shift or pivot, but that's absolutely become part of our discussions. And it's something that's very exciting to me. And that to me is the why. Likely, if someone does choose to work with you, they are likely going to see those big changes
Mm-hmm.
lead to big change. Let me explain what I mean by that. If you
Mm-hmm.
change one big thing, it changes everything. And that's absolutely been my experience through this. And it's been that sort of positive knock-on ramification of cutting down sugar. Listen, I still enjoy my sweet treats for sure, but nothing like before, which was really unhealthy. And those little incremental changes have had ramifications across every aspect of my relationship with my husband, career. Having that insight that I wanted to get back into career coaching after a break of several years was huge, and that the amount of energy I've got coming out of that. So I think for anybody who is really questioning what the next step is, who's really questioning how do I break through, how do I move forward, or for anyone who's just feeling a little bit stuck, this is a great way to get unstuck. I'd highly recommend working with you.
Awesome. And why? Did you share why that is? I think
Yeah, it's sort of, I alluded to this before. I think it's just having somebody who can be a cheerleader, but is also holding you accountable. When I think about the toolkit that you've helped me build and you've deployed on my behalf, it's around getting clarity. It's around being much clearer on what I actually want, nice to have versus need to have. And that's been so helpful. There are so many options available to us, so many things that we can do when it comes to career, when it comes to personal life, when it comes to the choices we can make around our health and our happiness. And having somebody who can help you just cut through all of the amazing information that's out there, but still information that's overwhelming, having someone who can help you narrow and focus and really put the lens into what you need and what can work for you, that to me has been the big change that's come through our working together. Is just, it's not just, oh, these would be nice things for everybody to have. It's like, oh, what do I actually need? What do I actually want? What's actually
Exactly.
going to work? What's realistic? Yeah.
Yeah, and for you, I mean, if you have more energy and then more clarity as well, right? From there, it's a whole new level. That's, I believe, why you started to execute towards coaching and planning your vision. Once you had that energy and once you had that clarity, now it's really about go, 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 which wasn't really possible before. So I
Right.
really want to commend you on that. It's been incredible to see you shine, to see you grow so
Thank you.
far. And I also wanted to ask, what is some, in terms of what would you say to someone that is watching and is maybe scared to invest and, isn't even sure about, hiring a coach?
I think that's okay. That's a totally normal and congratulations, you're human, right? That is exactly the I think most people have. I certainly had it too. Give yourself permission. That's okay. And why not just have an initial phone call? Why not just send an email and start the conversation? You don't have to jump in straight away. You can have a think about things, but that's okay. It's okay to feel a little unsure. It is a big investment. And if you've never done coaching before, that it might be hard to conceptualize how it really will change things for you. You're not buying something. It's not sort of this fabulous thing that you've bought off Amazon. It turns up in a box and you unbox it and here it is. Coaching happens in a
Exactly.
different way. But what I can tell you is every coaching session, you will be opening things up and you'll be delighted at what comes out. So that's all I can recommend to anyone who is hesitant. Give it a go.
That is a beautiful way of describing that. Yeah, because you never know, what's the next thing that you might uncover that's
Mhm.
actually, not working or that you want to dive into. Now, if you who is watching would like to explore further, if or how I can help you, that's something you, like Pamela said, you want to explore, and you're maybe not even 100% sure, but just want to discuss how it would work, you can go and fill out an application under this video below, and we're going to talk about what are the big obstacles for you and how to get them out of the way, and we're going to create a 3-step action plan for you that you can then implement. And yeah, so you can do that if you're interested to explore coaching. And now, Pamela here, congratulations again on your incredible results in coaching, and I cannot wait to see what's next for you in our coaching and to see you shine in this year. So thank you again for sharing your results today.
Oh, such a pleasure. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for inviting me to be here today. And for anyone who's thinking about coaching, good luck. You'll not regret the decision to work with Lisa. Thanks so much.